Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on our third Wednesday program. My name is Miranda, educator at Rome Historical Society. We're pleased to have Mike Zarnock here with us to do a program on Hot Wheels. Thank you for joining us today, Mike.
Thanks for having me. My pleasure.
Looking forward to it. Just a few things. Make sure you check our Facebook page, facebook.com/Rome Historical, or our website, romehistoricalsociety.org, for our most up-to-date information about our virtual programs coming to you throughout the rest of the year. I want to thank our corporate members, MVCC, AIS, and Revere Copper, for their membership and their support. So tonight's program is called Hot Wheels, a Local Authority, and that local authority is Mike Zarnock. So Mike, you are a super collector, and you have an extensive knowledge, collection, and passion for Hot Wheels, cars, and accessories. So we're excited to have you. I know I have memories playing with Hot Wheels as a kid, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers do as well. And it's exciting to have such an authority on Hot Wheels in our local area. So you grew up in Utica, and
Yes.
now you live in Deerfield, New York.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yep.
So you're really right here among our community.
Yes.
And I was very excited when I found your website and realized that. And you're doing some really neat things. You have a YouTube show, which you can tell us more about, and you do a lot of columns and writing for magazines and collectors' guides of Hot Wheels.
Yes.
Which is great. So I'm going to turn it over to you. Tell us a little bit about how you got into collecting and a little bit more about the Hot Wheels brand and the history of that.
Okay. I've been collecting Hot Wheels since 1968 when they first came out. Before that, I collected Matchbox cars and actually anything that had wheels. My dad was a body man in Utica. My whole life I lived in Utica. And so my dad would always come home with toy cars. And it's like I said, as far back as I can remember, I've had toy cars in my life. So, Matchbox cars were very utilitarian. They had trucks, they had campers, they had things like that. And they really didn't go fast. There were no tracks for them. So I used to kind of soup them up, per se, to make them look like the cars that were on the street. So I grew up I was 10 years old in 1968. That was an era when you could go down to a local Chevy dealership and buy a 427 Corvette. You could go to the Ford dealership and buy an AC Cobra. You could buy all these muscle cars, and that was the big thing. So I tried to make my Matchbox cars and my little slot cars look like the muscle cars that were on the street. And one day I went to W.T. Grant's, which was down in the North Utica Shopping Center, to look at the models, the model kits. And there was Hot Wheels up on this great big display. And I fell in love. There they were. They had really cool paint on them. They had big supercharged engines. They had racing slicks. They had mag wheels, all the things that I was doing in my Matchbox cars. And it was already done. So I fell in love with Hot Wheels right then and there. So Elliot Handler is the husband of Ruth Handler from Mattel. They started Mattel. She did Barbie. And one day he saw his grandkids playing with somebody else's toys, Matchbox cars, Corgi cars. And he's thinking, why aren't we making toy cars? So his idea was to make a hands-off toy car that looked like the cars that were roaming the streets in California. Now, back then, California had all kinds of cool custom cars. They had no regulations. You could do whatever you wanted on the street. Not like here. Now, California's paying for it. But, so Elliot Handler had, if you look at the package, here's one of the original cars, okay? And it says, fastest metal cars in the world, California Custom Miniatures. He wanted cars that looked like the cars that were roaming the streets of California. It worked. These cars were amazing. And every kid, like myself, who lived in New York, who had snow 10 months a year, we didn't get to see cool cars unless we went to a car show. So Elliot Handler's idea of having a really cool car that every kid in the world could have in his hands worked. And as you can see behind me, there's for 54 years now, Hot Wheels has been the most best-selling toy in the world. So
I know too, like they have annual conventions for Hot Wheels, and there's an international community. So are you involved with that community? Do you have Hot Wheels friends? And
yes, I have Hot Wheels friends all over the world. Actually, I have an interview tomorrow in the UK. So I go to all the conventions. Actually, they bring me to the conventions. I sign autographs, shake hands, kiss babies, the whole deal. It's amazing. It did not start like this. Just that little 10-year-old kid playing with Hot Wheels. And it's just evolved to having 2 Guinness World Records for the size of my collection, another Guinness record for track set. I've been in Ripley's twice. It's amazing. But the conventions, people save all year. They use it as their vacation. They bring their families. It's a huge family-oriented thing. It's amazing. The camaraderie. There's people, like you said, it's all over the world. It's global. There's conventions in Mexico. There's conventions in Brazil, Japan, and the people that go. Most of them don't speak the same language, but they do speak the same language, and it's Hot Wheels. So I can talk to some guy from Japan. I have no idea what he's talking about until he shows me what he's got or what he wants. It's the language of Hot Wheels. So it's amazing how it's a global thing. People all over the world collect Hot Wheels, girls, guys. So it doesn't matter.
so collecting is a fascinating thing. Can you talk a little bit about how you went from, a young boy who had a lot of cars and really liked them, and transitioning into becoming a super collector and really, really taking it and running with it?
Collecting is collecting. If it's something that you enjoy, when I was a kid, I played with my Hot Wheels. A lot of people, well, as you can look around, I have a lot of stuff still in the package. But as a kid, I ripped that car out of the package as soon as I got out the door of the store. I played with my Hot Wheels. My friends, we all played with Hot Wheels. You can't really fall in love with something unless you play with it. If you put something up on a shelf, you don't have that touch, that just the whole deal, So I collected. I had to have one of every car that Hot Wheels made. And it just went from one thing to another. There were a few years that I stopped collecting. I got into real cars, and I built real race cars and things like that. But then I had to catch up. So, but having one of everything was, being part of collecting. And then I got to the point where I had pretty much one of everything. And then I found out that there were different colors, there were different wheels, there were different, a lot of variations. And that's what my first book became. It was about variations, because I kept going to the store and seeing the same things. And then all of a sudden I noticed, well, wait a minute, that's got a different interior, that's got a different window, that's got, and then I started buying those. And then it just evolved. It's nothing that I did on purpose, but just one thing led to another. And, I keep pointing to the stuff behind me, but those are the things that make me happy. Those are the things that bring me back to my childhood, when I didn't have to do anything except mow the lawn and make my bed. And then I got an allowance so I could buy more Hot Wheels. So, those Hot Wheels have been the most consistent thing in my life for the past 54 years. So, But yeah, one thing led to another. The variation thing, I started making lists, and then I started giving my lists away, and I started giving a lot of lists away, and I thought, well, why don't I write a book? Because there were no books on variations. And that led, to my publishing deal. I don't self-publish. I have a publisher. So, yeah, it just evolved. It snowballed. How's that? Just one of those things.
Yeah, so as an authority, you're talking a little bit about your publishing deal and your books. As an authority on Hot Wheels, how are you connected to Mattel? What's your connection to the Hot Wheels organization?
How did I get hooked up with Mattel? My books, I have two pictures over there. My first book, actually the first cover of the book, did not have the Hot Wheel logo. Actually, I have here, this right here, the Hot Wheel logo. The first cover did not have the Hot Wheel logo. Of course, you have to pay for licensing. You have to be approved by Mattel, and it's just a whole ordeal. So when I wrote the first book, nobody had any idea who I was. My publisher had to go through Mattel Legal, and they sent all that stuff out. And it took quite a while, because Mattel goes through every single thing that you write. I've heard of people writing a book, and they it was like the CIA. They redacted like half of the book. And when they did my book, there were no issues. So right off the bat, they liked what I was doing. I did everything in a historical aspect, so they liked that also. But as I said, the first cover did not have the Hot Wheel logo on it. And one day my publisher, before it was released, he said, we're not going to release the book for a while. We got something going on. Uh-oh, what's going on, So then he writes me back and he says, Mattel has authorized your book. Wow! That's amazing. So, like I said, right off the bat, they liked what I did. And then as time went on, I got to meet a lot of the designers, and I got to meet a lot of the people behind the scenes. We got to be friends. And then it got to the point where they were asking me questions, because nobody really kept track of what was going on back in the day, which you would think that they would, but they really didn't think. It was a toy. How many toys can you think of that are still around 54 years later? Right? So no one expected that Hot Wheels would last that long. It was just going to come and go, and they're going to move on to the next thing. And it didn't. So as times as time was going on, they were trying to catch up with their history. And there's people like myself and a couple other authors out there that have all that information. I eat, sleep, and drink Hot Wheels. That's all I do. And now that I'm retired, it's even worse. So, but I have all the way back to 1968 when they came out. I actually have some of Mattel's files, and they call me, they write me. It's weird to have the designers. I pick up my phone and there's all the guys from Hot Wheels. So it's great. It's really cool.
Yeah. So I'm sure there's a lot of value in the originals and the stuff that came out early, but what about the stuff that's still coming out that Hot Wheels is still producing? What's their newer stuff, and what's their collecting value?
That's kind of hard to say. If I knew, I get emails all the time. People want to know, what can I collect that's going to make me money later on? And I tell them, put your money in the bank, because it's supply and demand. The more people want something, the more it's going to be worth. If there's tons of it out there, it's not going to have any value. When, like in the 1995, 96, the guys my age started buying toys, Hot Wheels, for their kids. And some guys were thinking, you know, the original red lines, these things from 1968 are going for huge money. But that's because everybody played with theirs. There's none in the package. They're, you know, far and few between. So a lot of people bought up thousands, hundreds, millions of Hot Wheels, put them away, thinking that 20 years they're going to bring them out and make a killing. But 20 years later, there were still hundreds, thousands, millions of them out there. And people were just dumping them for $5 for $1. You know, they were losing money on their investment. So the newer cars really don't have that value as the older cars. Again, it's supply and demand. So any, you know, if I was to replace this, it'd be a couple $100, maybe $300-400, depending on, you know, what color the interior is or whatever. So because they're just not out there. The odd accessories, like I have every lunchbox that was ever made. You know, things like that. What else do we have? You know, I have trains. People didn't know that Hot Wheels made trains in the mid '80s. There are Canadian trains, Canadian National and Canadian Pacific. They're so hard. I mean, I've only seen a handful. So when they go up for sale, I have a boxed set up there that I paid, I think, like $500-600 for, and that's, I think I've only seen 2. So I was happy to get it for that. But the newer stuff, no, nothing really, unless you get really short run pieces. You know, there's things like Toy Fair in New York City. Every year Mattel and all the other toy companies go out there and they have like 1,000 pieces they make just for Toy Fair. There are employee cars. So there's maybe only 500 employee cars given out at Christmas time. Things like that. If you could get one of those, but you're going to pay a few $100s for it. You may pay $1,000 for it. But the stuff that you're going to find in the store, really, you know, nothing's going to be crazy because they make hundreds of thousands of them.
I have a few questions in my mind, but do you still have, you know, your original Hot Wheels that you had as a kid that you played with, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they are down here in my case. Can I?
Yeah. Let's see them. That'd be great.
This case here has a lot, not all of my original stuff, but what was left of my original Hot Wheels. Excuse me. Again, you know, it was a toy. So when I turned 14, 15 years old, I pretty much stopped collecting Hot Wheels and went into the real cars. So my toys got put away. My dad gave some away to my cousins, things like that. And as my kids got older, I let them play with my Hot Wheels. And of course, you know, so, but that's why I probably only have 50 of my original Hot Wheels from 1968 to probably 70, 71. So, but yeah, I do have, that's the only thing that I have left of my collection as a kid is just a handful of cars. I mean, 50 is a handful to me since I have like 30,000 cars.
Right.
So.
Can you talk a little bit about, you had the Guinness Book of World Records largest collection twice, and can you talk a little bit about that, how that process went, and what that title means to you?
Originally, you know, well, I did teach school. I taught elementary school. I taught computer. And, of course, we had to find things for the kids to do. So one day we were just searching stuff. And actually, my Hot Wheel room, my classroom was all done up in Hot Wheels. And I used Hot Wheels as a behavior modifier. So all my kids knew, you know, about Hot Wheels. So we were looking up Hot Wheels records. And there weren't any. But there was a record for the most amount of model cars. So I saw that it was only 1,500 cars. And I said, man, I got more than that hanging on a wall. So I applied. I applied to Guinness to see what you had to do. And it was very, very vague. You had to count up what you had, but they really had no specific rules or guidelines. So I counted up what I had, photographed it, and actually I had Tim Julian, who was the mayor at the time, because you have to have some prominent people sign the affidavit that you make and fill out, stating that they actually saw the count and all that. So Tim Julian was one of them, and I forgot who the other one was. A woman that I don't remember, but and I sent it off and didn't hear anything. You can't contact them. There is really no email. There's no phone number. And like 8-9 months later, I get this big envelope that, and in it was the Guinness record. Said that I had 3,711 Hot Wheels, and I made sure that I said Hot Wheels because the other one just said model cars, and I wanted to make sure that my name and Hot Wheels were in the record together. And yeah, that's how I got the first one. And then come a year or so after that, another guy, Sergio Goldvard, out in Florida, I think. He beat my record. And they didn't even tell me. I was looking through the book. I'm in the Guinness record, and opening up the book, and I'm not there anymore. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, they're very, very vague. So when you get it, they don't tell you, and when you lose it, they don't tell you. You got to search all that out yourself. So I went back, and it was a couple of years. It was like 2000. The first one was 2003, and then the next one was 2007. I counted more. Of course, I had more. So it was like 8,000 cars. And I did it again. And it, I got the thing and said Mike Zarnock, 8,000, I forgot how many it was, but it's, there it is. And then Sergio beats me a year later. So the both of us had two records for the most amount of, now mine was just Hot Wheels. His was for all kinds of different model cars. And actually the guy owns a toy car factory. So I don't think it's fair that he got to beat, the record. But he's a great guy. I actually met him at a convention. Actually, when he was inducted into the Diecast Hall of Fame, like I am. Mm-hmm. And man, I'll tell you, that guy hugged me so hard, I thought my eyes were going to pop out. But yeah, great guy, super guy. And then somebody else beat his record, and it got to the point where it just was, I was happy with two, and he was happy with two. And then the other, actually, I still have the world's largest Hot Wheels collection, where the other guys have, Matchbox, Corgi, Dinky, all kinds of different Matchbox or diecast cars. Or just mine is, includes track sets, play sets, all that stuff.
Right. So I see in the room you have a lot of your collection. Is that all of your collection in there, or where do you store the rest of your collection? Because it's quite large.
I have 2,500 square feet, 8 feet high of storage.
Wow. And
I've outgrown that, and I'm adding more as soon as the ground thaws. I'm adding, I don't know, what's 28 by 28? I don't know how many square feet that is, but it's a lot. Uh-huh. And so, but yeah, I have my display room here. I have display in my office. And again, I have 2,500 square feet, 8 feet high, just overfilled with Hot Wheels.
Right. So I'm curious, what do you see for the future of your collection? Are you continuing to expand your collection? Are you just looking forward to keep growing, or what do you see?
Yeah. I did have a display at the Children's Museum in Utica for a few years. And now that they have closed and moving, I had to bring all my stuff back home. So, but yeah, I buy stuff all the time whenever I can find it. There are still many things that I don't have. And I mean, I collect anything that has the Hot Wheel logo on it. I have teddy bears, sneakers, roller skates, underwear, shirts, anything, little shaving kits, shampoo, toothbrushes. I can't tell you how many toothbrushes there are. But yeah, there's, and even in other countries, they have things that we don't. Like Australia will have candy. They have different bedding. I have enough bedding to probably do a decent sized motel. So there's curtains, there's you name it. And like I said, I collect it because it has Hot Wheels on it.
Right.
I don't plan on stopping.
That's what I wanted to hear.
My wife's not happy with that, but
Yeah.
We talked about the conventions and people from all over the world. My wife goes with me to the conventions, and she has friends that she's made from all over the world, and they stay in contact all the time. So I mean, you make friends, you make family. It's a lifestyle. There's a whole subculture of Hot Wheel collectors and the things that they do and how they spend their money and how they spend their lives and they spend their time.
So can you tell us a little bit more about your YouTube show, Hot Wheels TV?
Hot Wheels TV. What I do on Hot Wheels TV is I just talk about everything Hot Wheels. Variations. Mattel sends me product that when they, like Christmas time, I'll get track sets, things like that. And I open them. I show how to put them together, how they work. I was on a advisory board with Mattel for a new track set, which was the Hot Wheels ID, and that is all about the new integrated, computerized, all that stuff. And of course, they had to ask a dinosaur like me about that stuff. But anything new that comes out. And then I also do the older stuff. I do all the historical stuff. Anything and everything that we can do about Hot Wheels, I do on Hot Wheels TV. My granddaughter, who is 4, she comes on with me, and she'll do like pink cars or Barbie Hot Wheels, things like that. And it's just family oriented. It's kid friendly, and it's someplace that you can go with your kids. The kids can go by themselves. It's just all about toys, and I try to make it a lesson. I guess that's the teacher in me. But I try to teach something about Hot Wheels or car history within every show. I might see an old Corvette and say, oh, you know what? I had a Corvette like that, or my wife had a Corvette like that. Or, I will bring the real cars into it and, make it a history lesson.
Right. We're going to be sure to put the link to your website and to your YouTube channel in our description below.
Thank you.
Yeah. And is there anything, just to wrap it up, is there anything that you want to say as a message to people who are watching this? Anything you want to say directly to the viewers?
If you are going to collect Hot Wheels, if you're going to do anything as a hobby, it's a hobby. Don't collect for money. I mean, if you want to spend, a few $1,000s on stuff like that, don't think that it's going to grow. Don't think you're going to get a lot of money back. Enjoy it. It's for you. It's a hobby. Makes you happy. Something you can do with your kids. Don't have to be boys. Can be girls. My granddaughter loves Hot Wheels, and there are some huge, amazing collections out there that are owned by women. So you don't have to be a guy. But yeah, enjoy it. It's a hobby. This is what makes me happy. If you're gonna want to make money, put your money in the bank. You know, don't invest in Hot Wheels, but enjoy Hot Wheels and love Hot Wheels. That's all I can tell you. I enjoy it. My family enjoys it. We go all over the world. It's great. So yeah, have fun with it.
Great. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your passion with us in this program.
Thank you. Bye-bye.